I'm sharing a reading experience. I'm reading from the book entitled For James, and I'm sharing it with you now. Today I'll through the first part of the chapter called Faith, with the second part to follow. I hope you listen and receive something worthwhile from this. This video might inspire you to read this book. It's my hope that you will search from the best books and gain information and ideas to help you to become a better person. The more you read, the better you'll think. And the better you think, the more you'll be able to face life's challenges successfully. Faith. The hissing and methods of the snake. Atheists claim Christians use a sneaky tactic called faith. Whenever atheists hear the word faith, they replace the word faith with the wording of pretending to know things. For example, if I say, I have faith in God, they will think or say, you pretend to know things you don't know about God. An atheist will tell you, your so called faith removes curiosity, knowledge of what to value in living, and replaces wonder with arrogance, false humility, and warrantless confidence. I find it very interesting that atheists will often pair words associated with God with words associated with dread and horror. You'll also note how atheists takes up name calling, shaming, and guilt as their last best strategy, especially when other schemes to destroy faith don't work. Their hatred will often attack faith, and their ignorance will mock faith. But in the end, faith still stands. I will show you the more subtle way the atheist attempts to destroy faith in more detail using the same method the snake used on Eve. Name calling and verbal attacks on the intelligence of those with faith is common and is used from the subtle to the loudly overt. If you want a good example of this type of attack, just review the section The Post at the beginning of this series. Here, the speaker is essentially calling those with faith as having no more intelligence than a dog or the dumbest rock thrower in the caveman cave complex. Now, since those with faith are so stupid, it should be easy to destroy those who claim to have faith. The atheist community employs liberal politicians, university professors, and others of influence on the war against faith as a cornerstone of a larger strategy to combat faith in the upcoming generation. Often, the primary goal of atheists is to teach others how to destroy belief and faith in God by casting doubt and mistrust in people of faith. The ideal target is the youth, since they are malleable with lots of time to work on them, thus creating skeptical atheists. There's great hope in this, since youth from religious homes who abandon their faith rarely ever regain it. And as faith plummets, acceptance of atheism will rise. One way is for the atheist to get the young person to redefine faith from a belief in something true despite a lack of proof to dotastic pathology due to certainty, prejudice, pretending, confirmation bias, irrationality, and superstition. The atheist wants everyone to believe that faith causes people to misinterpret experience and worsens the person's condition to the point that there's brain damage. And if someone is suffering from a brain based faith delusion, the atheist faith destroying work will be futile. Oh no. Skilled soldiers of faithlessness Never attempt to divide people from their religion at first, but focus on separating them from their faith. The first step is to model truthfulness and have the appearance of being willing to reconsider beliefs so the other person will do the same. They're not going to try to win the argument, but rather model a positive, accepting attitude without seeming to pass judgment. This builds trust, so later doubts will be more likely to be believed. The first step involves drawing the believer into a conversation, asking for help to understand or feigning ignorance. The atheist avoids facts and instead attempts to change the way the believer believes. The change of belief is brought about by showing the believer they have no reproducible, verifiable facts that can be proved in the same way that you can prove a mathematical formula. Intuitions or feelings the believer has, or any other types of experiences, are discounted as non valuable knowledge. The base of faith must be destroyed first, and then the belief of the non existence of God will follow, followed by a divorce from their religious family, thus ensuring their isolation from faith. Attacking religion usually isn't directly done because religion is a social experience where people go for friendship, love, trust, and community to do things that are fun, meaningful, and satisfying, that adds purpose and joy to living. So to attack a religion is like attacking their family. A direct attack is not nearly as effective or wise and just ends up pushing people further into their faith based delusion. Once faith crumbles, the divorce from their family will follow. So the atheist doesn't attack God directly, they attack faith in God. In other words, they focus on undermining one's confidence of how they claim to know. Instead of talking about actual existence, which the atheist cannot disprove, they direct the discussion to how do you know? This step involves trying to get the target to consider that their beliefs could be delusions. For example, how do you know that good feeling was caused by God? The wording of the questions is in a passive voice, so the target will be less threatened and open to alternative causes. They will also avoid using you, as it can be threatening. Not, you don't get it, but if this is unclear, please let me know. That will help me to become a better explainer. They use long pauses, as the pause is a useful technique used by salesmen to get the results that they want. The atheist gets the target to see things in a negative light by asking what conditions would have to be in place for their belief to be false. If the atheist is asked what would make them believe in God, they might say something like, if I walked outside and all the stars were organized to read, I am God communicating with you, believe in me, or something else equally silly and egocentric. The follow up question would be, how do you differentiate this belief from a delusion? If the atheist is asked this question, they would say something like, I could very well be wrong about any of my beliefs. I could also misconstrue reality. The difference between misconstruing reality and being delusional is the willingness to reverse a belief. This encourages the believer to slide on their belief system. The follow up question would be, are you willing to revise your belief that blank is wrong? This enforces the idea that they're harboring a delusion without actually saying it. This method to induce doubt shows how crafty the snake can be. Because humans try to make sense of their worldview, reasoning is intrinsic to our nature. Scientists and others who are considered intellectuals by the world tend to believe their reasons trump any other type of expression to our nature. Faith, then, is often viewed as positive thinking mumbo jumbo by such people. Yet, in reality, faith is beyond this. Faith really is knowing what's true rather than it being something we settle for when there's no truth. In a very real sense, faith is knowledge gained not from our experience or rational thoughts, but in a discernible and undeniable way. If I bump my head, no person asks, do you believe you bumped your head? Or, do you not believe you bumped your head? If I say, curses, that hurt, no one asks me, do you actually believe it hurts? They instead know my head hurts without actually experiencing the feeling of my pain or by trying to establish proof of the pain. They know by intuition that my bump hurts. Faith eventually grows into knowledge, and sometimes we can come closer to God by chasing down what questions us more than if we just rest on our certainties. Faith becomes knowledge as we ready ourselves for that knowledge. Thank you for joining me today. Please join me for part 2 of this chapter. Thank you. Until next time, take care.